Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'll be explaining about transistor. So first is definition. What is the definition of transistor? Is that it is 3-layer, 2-junction, 3-terminal, unidirectional and bipolar device. Okay, I'll explain each of the thing. So types transistor, there are two types. One is NPN transistor, other is PNP transistor. That is, for PN diode you are just adding in another layer. Okay, so yes, I'll explain it here. Two types, P, N and P. Okay, and this side N, P and N. Okay, so these are the three layers: P layer, N layer, P layer, and this side it is N, P, N. So N, P, N or PNP. So these are three layer. What is this junction is? There are two junctions, J1 and J2. So let this be J1 and this is J2 and this is J1 and J2. So this junction separates three layer. So what is this? Three terminal is emitter, base and collector. So input side is emitter, output side is collector, and this side is base. Similarly also emitter, base and collector. Okay, sorry, this is base and this is collector. Okay, so what is this unidirectional? For a PNP transistor, current flows from emitter to collector and not collector to emitter. For NPN transistor, current flows from collector to emitter and not from emitter to collector. That's why it is called as unidirectional. I'll explain why the current flows in PNP transistor, why current flows from emitter to collector and not collector to emitter, and vice versa in NPN transistor. I'll explain in next topic. So current flows in only one direction. For PNP it flows from emitter to collector, for NPN it flows from collector to emitter. What is this bipolar? Bipolar is that current flows due to, or current gets generated due to both electrons and holes. That's why it is called as bipolar device. Okay, so next I will go for the symbol for PNP transistor. I told you this is the actually symbol of transistor. For PNP, current flows from emitter to collector. So collector to emitter means it is in this direction. Okay, so for NPN transistor, current flows from collector to emitter. This is from emitter to collector, sorry. So you will mark it like this. Okay, from emitter to collector. This side current flows from collector to emitter, so this way. Okay, so this is the symbol of NPN and PNP diode. Next we will go with doping level of emitter, collector and base. See, before going to doping, I'll just explain what is this emitter. E is the emitter. So as name suggests, it emits charge carrier. So voltage is applied, a combination takes place and charges will get produced. So that charge will get emitted from N to N, or from emitter to collector by this emitter. It emits whatever the charge carrier is produced, it will emit those to the collector. That's why it is called as emitter. It emits the charge carrier. Next is B, that is base. Base, it is just acting as a path for the transmission of charge. or charge carrier. So from emitter to collector their charge carriers flows. So for that it is just acting as a path. Next is collector. From name itself you can tell what it does. It just collects the charge carrier which is sent by the emitter, collects the charge carrier. So emitter is used to emit the charge carrier, collector is used to collect those charge carrier, and this base is just acting as a path for the charge carriers to move. So as I already told, doping. So how this emitter doping is? Emitter doping will be high. Why? It is highly doped because you need more charge carriers to transmit. So only when there is more doping, more charge carriers will be present, and in turn it can send more charge carriers. So that's why it is highly doped. Next, base. Base, if you see, it is just thin layer. So it has to transmit, right? So only when it is thin it can transmit faster. So the doping level is very slight or thin. Next is collector. Collector is slightly doped. That's because if doping is more, there will be more charge carriers. Here for collector you don't have to have more charge carriers. It needs more space to get the charge carriers that is emitted by the emitter. So this should be lightly doped. So next we'll go for size. Size of emitter, it is medium. Okay, then size of base is low and collector is high, because only when there is more space it can occupy whatever the charge carriers that it is getting. So it requires more space to accept the charge carriers. That's why the collector space is very much high and this is low, and emitter is medium. Because medium, it just requires a space for transmitting. It doesn't have to keep it on hold. Whatever the charges it gets, it has to transmit, so it requires medium space. Only collector requires high space. It has to collect whatever the charge it is getting. So these are all the definition and the types and the symbol. Then what the doping of 3 layers and the size of 3 layers. Next we'll be going into its operation.